Hey, Simon here, and I just want to talk about Quake for a little bit. Quake's one of my favourite games from the 1990s. It's game that came out after Doom. Quake doesn't get a lot of attention nowadays. Doom is always brought up as the kind of father of first-person shooters, but at the same time, Quake innovated in a lot of ways, and it's a very, very interesting game. Obviously, Doom has the remake come out. Quake hasn't had that. I'd really love to see a remake of Quake. There are a lot of games which promise the 1990s shooter experience but don't really deliver on it. So I'm going to show you the first level of the game. So you start in this area and you're being led through this really nicely framed area by these lights. So you see the lights and you see the light in the distance. You've got the shotgun shells, so you're already being drawn through the environment. You've got this flickering light, which if you look at will actually tell you can jump up here. And there's a secret. So as you're being drawn through here, you're going to want to get to the shotgun shells. You get a hint that you can jump across. And so you've got a little safe environment here to learn the jumping mechanic. A lot of players who played Quake came straight from Doom, so things like 3D environments were a bit new to them. There were obviously other games like Duke that had them, but again, they had to teach players these things. One of the things about this starting area which I really like is, unlike a lot of games that came out in the time, the environments are really, really nicely fleshed out and detailed. A lot of first developers, working in 3D for the first time, created a large series of boxes for rooms, whereas nothing in Quake is just a box. Everything has edges, steps, ups and downs. It's quite recognizable from some of the things that they put in Doom. So, going through our first combat tutorial with a grunt. Quake gets a bit of flack because people don't like how many shots it takes to hurt someone. But I feel it's actually okay. You've got a lot less on screen, obviously, and that was one of the reasons why they made the enemies much tougher. But at the same time, it feels more like fights are quite scary and you have to move around in 3D space. Obviously, one of the really nice things about Quake is the atmosphere. You'll hear the music in the background, which is 9 Inch Nails, which just makes everything really tense. Every song on the soundtrack is fantastic. You'll see the secret actually just looped us back around to this place, which is a thing that Doom did a lot, but unlike Doom, Quake's levels are slightly more sensical, I'd say. A lot of Doom's levels felt like they were perhaps a bit too maze-like, and a lot of players, or me, I actually like Quake's smaller environment. So there we had an environmental hazard, we had blowing this up, and we walk into this space, and as you can see, it's not just a linear series of boxes. We've got full use of the 3D space. We've got places we can't get to with enemies. I mean, this is a little lesson. As you can see the dog up there, often enemies are above you, and this is just teaching you to look above you. We've got something over there, but we'll jump up and we can't reach it. So this is another hint for us to maybe be looking for a secret. And you'll see other things. You'll see this space. Like, why does this space exist? Everything's very, very designed and deliberate. So we want to get across here. And we're just really obviously led by this big pressable button. But there's a lift here. Shock reveal with our 9 Inch Nails logo. This is the nail gun. Again, just the flowing of these shapes, the corner. With a budget so small in terms of polygons, they really did a really fantastic job. People say they dislike the aesthetics. Yes, it is very brown, but it's done very well. So again, we get the drop on this. More button pressing puzzles. But we've got dynamic lighting here, revealing things as they go around. And just this vertical fight here is really interesting, because obviously games hadn't done this before. So having a first-person shooter which is working on multiple levels, and I think this area really teaches players that they need to be looking out for the verticality of the game. So we can go down here. Mind you, notice we've got a biosuit. We can jump into the water. And there should be something to look out for. So we found a secret here. With some spare armor and things. The interesting thing about the secret is it appears to be underneath something else, so keep an eye out for later in the game. So we've just spawned back, and we've spawned into that space I pointed out earlier. It's really interesting how everything seems to tie together. There's been a lot of iteration on this, quite clearly. Notice. So we've now found a secret super shotgun. And we'll backtrack through the level. The levels being small is the backtracking never feels like backtracking, it's just moving around the environment. I must press the 3 buttons. Oh, did I miss one? As you can notice, the space, the secret we were in, was actually part of the level down here. Everything's so meticulously planned and seems purposeful. And this is the end of the level. So we didn't get all the secrets, we got all the kills, and it took 6 minutes. So this next level, again, we've got a nice little bit of symmetry. We've got a drop on these enemies, and a new enemy, the ogre, which we haven't seen yet. What's interesting is the ogre has a grenade launcher, and there's a set of steps here. So if you're a new player, and you haven't grasped the grenade launcher mechanic, you've got a few seconds to figure out what's happening as the grenades bounce off this staircase. That's a really, really nice way to introduce you to the enemy in a way that they can't hurt you for a few seconds. So moving through. Again, we've got a really nice use of 3D space. We're now introduced to an ogre that we're not so protected from. Indeed, I think this is a way of showing us the hand-to-hand chainsaw attack they have. Now we've got environmental hazards. Kind of, not a puzzle, but just a bit of environmental interaction again. Now we're introduced to these guys. What's interesting is, I think that maybe this is the first small design mistake of the game. You're introduced to 3 of them, and you've got the super shotgun, but at the end of the day, they're actually, they rush you, and you don't know how they're going to attack. So we've picked up a silver key, and the door opens. We can actually drop down here as well. Oh, and there's some secrets to pick up, but I missed them. Again, we've landed somewhere else in the level. There's a bit of jumping involved. The door for the silver key, which is probably one of the slightly older mechanics in Quake, the kind of picking up keys, that kind of went out with the end of the 90s. So we solved a puzzle here and we're introduced to, I think, the best enemy in the game, frankly. Something fast, moves around in the 3D space. And we're at the end of level 2. So we're on to the 3rd level. If you have played the demo, which is that plays in the background of the menu, you actually have already seen this level, so you have some idea how to do it. But you've got a pretty unsubtle cue. You're given the grenade launcher and immediately you've got some zombies. Zombies, if you shoot them, they get back up again, so you actually have to destroy them. You're introduced to more ogres. The one in the cage is almost a distraction to make you miss the one that's not in there. So you're introduced to this environment where you walk in and suddenly the ceiling is coming down on you and you've got a button to press which allows you to escape. I really like this. It's a fun little thing that plays with the use of 3D space, which you couldn't really do in other previous games. Then you're given some 9-inch nails as you come around this corner, which will cause you to open up your nail gun. This guy's cheeky. He was actually hidden behind this pillar, so if you run forward, he won't activate until you get around there. But again, this is a really nice open environment. Archways and interesting lighting. You'll go through the door, you need the gold key, you'll turn around and you'll actually immediately see it down there. So you jump down, get your gold key, which I should have fallen in the water, because that would have... And then suddenly you're surrounded by zombies. It's not actually a big deal. If I could swap to my things in time. I'm just going to run past all these guys. I don't really need to kill them. I do need these. So you see this guy would have come through this area. And where was I going? Back through here again, now that we have the gold key. The spaces are small enough that you remember. Unlike a lot of times in Doom, where I feel that you had to either memorize the level or often open up the map. So again, we've got another environmental puzzle, or trap. So now we're introduced to another ogre up here. One of Quake's really good strengths are these vertical battles, and all the best levels have excellent verticality. So this area just gives me even more zombies to deal with. Grenade launcher was interesting because it really was, I think, probably the first physics tricky kind of weapon in a game. You know, the grenades bouncing around, in a 3D game, that is. So again here we have a threat laid out in front of us of the zombies, but the real threat's actually above us. I think that's why in the first level there was that downwards kind of spiral, because it was like teaching you to make sure you're looking up and down, and that the person with the upper hand usually wins. So this area is nice because it reminds you immediately of that, and so you start freaking out because there's no way out. And nope, it's a lift. I think that's a funny bit of funniest level design in the early game. Just a little kind of trick. Oh. Oh well. I wasn't expecting to get stuck there. But yeah, so this is Quake. I really love Quake a lot. Give the game a go. If you're into level design, it's a really, really, really lovely game with lots to see. There's tourist mods where you can play the game without any of the enemies in. It really did pioneer a lot of first-person shooter games design, and I think a lot of modern games could actually learn things from it. It's a shame that a lot of games designers haven't played it, as they wouldn't be making the same mistakes that were fixed 20 or so years ago now, or 22 years ago. Anyway, this is Quake. I'll see you guys later. Bye.